Few games have had quite the same effect on me as Nier Automata. Whether we're talking about its wide array of gameplay mechanics or the game's surprisingly thoughtful narrative, Nier Automata feels unique and undeniably memorable. Set many years after humanity's forced evacuation of Earth due to an invasion of vicious machines, Nier Automata follows two android operatives as they investigate unusual developments regarding the machine army. The plot is certainly engaging as it offers a number of bizarre scenarios and mysterious plot details to keep players moving forward. With that said, Nier Automata also manages to add some weight to its more outlandish elements by touching upon a number of philosophical themes, from exploring the concept of humanity to pondering the meaning of life itself. So, not only does Nier Automata hit us with a strange plot to keep players guessing, it also gives you plenty to think about along the way. The only real complaint I could level at Automata's narrative is that it takes a bit too long to get invested in the lead characters, though to the game's credit, it makes the most of that emotional investment with some moments that genuinely had me choking up. Thankfully, as I noted before, the game throws enough intriguing plot points at you that you're more than likely to stick around long enough to become attached to the main characters regardless. It also doesn't hurt that to get the most out of the game's plot, you're required to finish the game at least 3 separate times, so the characters have plenty of time to grow on you anyway. As well as getting to know these characters, you also get to know the world of Nier Automata pretty thoroughly, as you're made to trek between quests for a decent amount of time before fast traveling becomes an available option. If nothing else, the world looks nice enough with its varied landscapes and soft colour palette, though it would probably be less frustrating to traverse in those first few hours if it weren't for the odd frame rate drop or noticeable texture pop in. Weirdly, I only really noticed any of these technical hitches as I ran around the world, and not during the more fast-paced, frantic combat scenarios. Those parts of the game looked and felt as smooth as could be. In addition to looking and feeling great, these sections feature some really fantastic music, utilising huge orchestral tracks with striking vocals. These tracks are certainly memorable and manage to stand out, even when they're forced to contend with the chaotic sounds of Nier's frantic combat. Speaking of, combat is probably the largest aspect of Nier Automata's gameplay, but it's far from the only mechanic on hand. Top-down and twin-stick shoot-'em-up sections break up the fast-paced, Platinum-style combat, and there are even some text-adventure sequences, even if they are rather brief. I would have thought that including such vast mechanics would leave one area feeling less developed than another, but for the most part, Nier Automata delivers on all gameplay fronts. With combat making up the largest chunk of Automata's moment-to-moment gameplay, it would make sense that it's the most satisfying component. Platinum Games' prior experience with this type of fast-paced game is certainly on display with stylish combos and dodges that feel fun and satisfying to pull off, no matter what weapon you're using. Unlike previous Platinum games, you don't have a huge pool of combos and techniques to pull from, but even so, every encounter feels gratifying and intense. It doesn't hurt that the enemies that you'll face are surprisingly varied, often forcing you to change up your approach to combat, with the odd boss battle here or there to really ramp things up. As I mentioned, unlike other Platinum titles, you don't really unlock new moves or combos in Nier Automata. However, there are unique RPG elements that allow you to plug in chips that enhance your characters in various ways, from increasing health levels and damage output, to allowing the auto use of healing items when you're in danger. This feels unique, mostly due to the method in which you can upgrade and organize these chips, making you choose your upgrades wisely, while also allowing you to build loadouts for different situations, such as focusing on offense or even your hacking abilities. On that note, Nier Automata's hacking gameplay makes for a surprisingly large portion of the second playthrough. It pops up briefly in the first run-through of the game, but really makes its presence known after you finish the game once. Mechanically, it's just one of the many sequences that features shoot-'em-up mechanics, although unlike more traditional shoot-'em-up sections, these allow you to deal massive damage to enemies in the middle of any standard combat scenario. Hacking sections require you to blast hostiles before taking out a central core, and these little arcade sequences are a neat break from the constant combat, and also feature chiptune versions of the awesome soundtrack, making them even more fun to experience. There are some other shoot-'em-up sections where you pilot the android's aerial units, and these are functionally similar to the hacking games, except in addition to twin-stick style gameplay, you get to play top-down or side-on scrolling shooter sections as well. Much like the hacking mechanics, these sections prove to be a decent break from the combat mechanics, while still providing a similar level of style and satisfaction. And yeah, Nier Automata even manages to cram a tiny text adventure or two into the game, which is weird and kind of neat, I guess. It certainly adds to the game's memorability, as do the multitude of quirky side quests that Automata has to offer. When you take these into consideration, alongside the multiple weapons to unlock that also have their own stories, plus the 26 possible different endings, the Nier Automata has plenty to offer in terms of content. Not only does Nier Automata have content for days, it's content worth checking out. Its combat may not be as deep as fans of Platinum games might have come to expect, and its occasional technical issues can be frustrating. but between its awesome soundtrack, varied gameplay mechanics, and bizarre, thought-provoking story that gets better upon each completion, there's plenty to love here. Nier Automata gets an 8.5 out of 10.